This is what we can expect the rest of the night. This is what's going to happen here in Portland.
Smoke, flashbang.
Hang on,
You
but are
name
you
it.
seeing the footage, or are you just like hearing reports of them?
I'm getting confidential reports from sources.
Yeah, but also doing riot control, right? You can charge and go with your shields and buttons and launch fucking CS gas and shit. But
So my source for this is the deputy scene commander for NYPD.
Oh, you do. I'm not. Yeah, sorry. So I was trying to say like I don't believe what you're saying. I was saying like I guess I don't know wording. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the wording. But
no, that's the
in my mind,
exact technique that they're using. Is it's
yeah. So in my mind, I'm
charge.
imagining them. They're like, yeah, I'm imagining literally like them full charging like Spartan style, and just knocking motherfuckers over. That's what I'm imagining. Yeah, well, that's what I meant. Like again, and Victor would know it's weird saying Victor because that's my in-game name as well. He would know though, like even as right control, you don't generally just bull rush and ball people over. Like you have a formation, right?
Oh yeah, you're online doing it, but basically, like I know what kind of tactics Las Vegas Metro is going to employ tonight, and it's not going to be nice.
As someone who's done like heaps of fucking insane shit though, doesn't it like kind of give you a bit of a hard on being like, fuck yeah, I want to be.
Not really. Not with
really.
what's going on in the world.
I really don't want
now.
people to get hurt, with this stuff.
Given the go on, sorry. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, but given the totality of circumstances and things not being addressed for so long, there's going to be people getting hurt. There is going to be, to use the legalistic terms, serious violence or grievous bodily harm. And it's going to continue until one side gives. I'm rather concerned about the National Guard. Now, the National Guard gets a lot more training in civil disturbance control than the active component military. But, like in our state, if we called out a National Guard, it wouldn't make any difference too much because we have a tank battalion, ground cavalry unit, a air cavalry battalion, a medical helicopter company, and a military police battalion. The thing is, the military police battalion would be very useful for the law enforcement side of this right now. One problem. Most of the people in the military police battalion are actually active duty law enforcement officers as well. So
Yeah,
you'd just be taking them away from their law enforcement commands.
Oh. Zima. Oh. I was going to say, I didn't know. Sorry. I think Zemas was trying to say something as well, but I didn't know what he was trying to say. But he left anyway, so.
Oh, damn. Well, he might be rejoining.
Another thing, too, unless we're in the middle of a discussion, like every 10, 15 minutes, we just want to tell everybody what's going on. If anybody's like joining a stream and stuff like that, just kind of like do a brief summary of what this is and whatnot. Just make sure.
You haven't gone live yet,
people will be like, what the hell?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Okay. Well, so but the thing, okay, but the thing with like the question was specifically at Victor because, or I don't know, maybe Z Master or other people in here ex-military as well, but with they've spoken to Victor for a little bit now. As just personally as an individual, just between us, and I say between us, and we're actually public and we're actually on a effing live stream. Can beep that out later. But that's what I was saying. Like, again, yes, you don't want to hurt people. Of course not. I mean, what's happening is horrible. But in the context of just us as individuals, ex-military people, when I say like, doesn't a part of you feel like heck yeah, I want to like be in there and get in on it?
For me, not really. And I know that may surprise you given my specific background in the military, but
Well, because you talk about killing people all the time. So that, yeah, but anyway.
oh, thanks for broadcasting out on live stream.
Sorry.
God damn it.
That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke.
And so there's one thing, when violence of action is necessary, I'm all about the violence of action. But I look at, again, I'm going to use this term a lot tonight, what is called the continuum of force. Within the continuum of force, military or law enforcement, I look at it like this. If I didn't pull that stuff in Southwest Baghdad last decade with people that had things like RPGs, RPKs, dish guns, and AK-47s in the crowd and they were protesting, there is absolutely no excuse for U.S. law enforcement to pull that kind of stuff in a crowd when not even anything close to that level of firepower exists.
When
I
it's
had to do
when
riot
it's just
control sometimes.
when it's just like bottles and stones and like at worst fireworks.
You have your shield. Essentially the techniques are the same, and you Roman shield wall it. You can sit behind those plexiglass shields and laugh for a long time. Now, for people throwing stuff like incendiary devices, that's very, very different.
Yeah, and also, sorry, I don't know. I didn't mean it like so when I said I want to get in there, I didn't mean get in there and like be either police or military and get in there and shoot people or kill people. I didn't mean that. I just meant just get in there and have a riot shield and just stand there and like.
No, I've done that in protests in the past. I've done
but I'm
street
just
medic
saying,
work
like,
due to my background and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like again, so like with this situation now, though, is like because for me, admittedly, part of me is like, oh, this is exciting in the sense of like it takes me back to the riot training days and during riot control days. Is again not to, I don't want to go in there to hurt anyone, but it's just an adrenaline rush just thinking about like just getting in there, kitted up, and just. I know it sounds like for I guess a lot of people it sounds weird, but again, I'm not going in there to try and like shoot someone or actually kill someone. It's just being in the heat of that moment.
Yeah, there is a lot of adrenaline junkie problems in the veterans community, which is why you'll hear me advocate often enough that prior service military should not be in law enforcement. You'll hear me say that over and over, and there's completely valid reasons for it. And one of those is you tend to get, for lack of better terms, you tend to get addicted to the action. You become an action guy junkie. Especially if you're like I was, that we're in the direct shooting end, what we would call professionally combat arms functions. And that training is hard to eject. And sadly, one of the problems with the United States is our police are extremely militarized.
Now, I think that's where I guess a little bit different with, obviously America and Australia, but a lot of our training is very strict in the sense of, not to. It's a weird thing because, like, when I was in infantry, it was, you practice stabbing sandbags and you get told to when you can shoot people, when you can't, blah, 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 right? Because you're pretty much cannon fodder on the front line. But then there's also this strict, rule, like shooting someone has to be the last resort. And that gets like, you get told that all the time. And so with my mates and stuff, some of them have gone to be, so some of them actually left infantry and then decided to become like ambulance, like ambulance people and whatever. And some of them gone to be cops. But it's actually their training has actually helped them. Like a lot of us, and not digging on Australian police or whatever, but a lot of them just with the gun handling and weapons handling, like we get taught a lot more safety in the military than, unfortunately, the local police and stuff do. Some of them even.
So one of the problems is, and I think Naz touched on it a little bit, but yes, in the United States you have post-certification, which is professional law enforcement standards and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you don't have a nationalized police program. You have 18,000 plus separate and independent law enforcement agencies.
So in Australia,
each with their own standards.
Yes.
Yeah, but in Australia, so that's another thing, and it's obviously a thing the government do deliberately. But say, for example, being ex-infantry, I fired, like 64s, fucking mortars, bloody and Mag 58s, blah blah, blah blah. but I do not automatically get a rifle license or a pistol license. I have to still do the civilian course to get that, and that takes like 6 months. And so,
yeah, and that's well and fine, but you're dealing with an, you know.
I know, but I'm
I
saying with
understand
Australia,
that.
like they have to still. So if you leave the military, have all this experience, you don't automatically you still have to go join the police force and do the police academy stuff and like.
Well, we
so,
have something called the Second Amendment in the United States, and that's kind of a catch-all for us. It makes us a little bit unique.
and that's the thing with this, and not comparing not this comparing bullshit, but I'm just saying with Australia, it's. Even if you've been in the military for 20 years and you want to be a police officer, you still have to do all the basic police academy stuff. You can't take a shortcut, and it's just But,
well,
but I do
the
get the
thing
whole
is,
adrenaline.
the thing is too. Aside from all the adrenaline and stuff like that, you have a problem that in the United States, our law enforcement community has been militarized more and more each year. You know, great example. You didn't see people running around like law enforcement agencies running around in Oshkoshes and MRAPs until we started winding down the war in Iraq, and a lot of people wanted to make money. So, like, oh, we'll just do a discount sale to law enforcement agencies. So you have Opie and Andy in their yokel sheriff's department with a running around in multiple MRAPs. You know, the thing is about force, and you know this, whether you're military, law enforcement, any function where you can have control over the public, if you've got a toy, it's going to be used.
Yeah, but that's also part of the training. Well, it's part training, but it's also part the person, right? And yes, there's people who are going to go, like I said, power trips or go, because they like it and they take it too far. But you need to obviously, yes, you've equipped with the gun, but it's your choice to use the gun, or for example's sake, if you pull someone over, you could either pull them over and draw your gun and go, put your hands up, rah, rah, or you can be like, hey, how's it going? Like, can I see your driver's license?
Usually,
that's a vague example, but you know what I mean? There's a choice that you can have to deal with the situation.
Usually traffic stops, your typical traffic stop does not start with rah, rah and the gun. And there is something to be said for any officer on a given traffic stop does not know what they're going to be dealing with. It's a
And I
crapshoot.
understand America's pretty intense, though. I do understand that a lot of American police officers have been shot with traffic stops and stuff. So.
Actually, the largest factor with law enforcement fatalities are two things that have nothing to do with violence: stress on the job leading to building medical conditions, heart attacks on the job and stuff like that, and traffic collisions. That's where most of your cops die annually, is traffic collisions and heart attacks on the job.
This makes sense. But I meant about them. Well, okay, so again, from an outsider, as an Australian, you see, these documentaries or, these stories about why police officers, they have the hand on their guns or even pull their gun up to someone when they do a traffic stop, because there's the history of people, history of police officers when they do a traffic stop, say, for instance, walk up to the window and then just get shot and stuff like that.
Yes, that does happen.
Yeah, and I can understand the point of view of police saying, okay, well, that's why we, get really anxious or, cautious. And I could totally understand that, especially if it's happening a lot. Because in Australia, that doesn't happen.
It's like, for example, a simple friendly gesture, right? The handshake or the dude bro fist bump. People see it as something lame, why there's a dude bro fist bump that happens between like police and especially police and the civilians. But they do that for a specific reason instead of shaking someone's hand. Because when you shake someone's hand, you're potentially giving them manipulative control over your limb.
Yeah.
So just to talk about police deaths, last year in 2019, 89 police died due to traffic stops. It was something like 41 of them died from actually like just accidents, or sorry, felony charges, and then the rest of them died from accidents. So 48 of them died from accidents. So that was in 2019. I'm trying to find the statistics on how many people.
Yeah, and remember there's stat lag. I think last year was well over 1,000.
But this is for 2019. This is how many police officers died due to traffic stops. So yeah, that's from the Department of Justice. Things are
Good to know.
over here in Portland right now, Portland, Oregon. We have a bunch of protesters running into a parking garage and holding it. There's no real reason to do that. They're just kind of doing it. And there's a bunch of people right now in front of the Mark O. Hatfield United States Courthouse in downtown Portland on 3rd and Southwest Salmon. So that's what's going on over here. If you want to look that up on a map, it is Portland, Oregon, 3rd and Southwest Salmon Street. It's right across the street from the Justice Center, and which was actually stormed last night. The windows were broken, and the Justice Center in Portland, Oregon, is Central Precinct. It is the police headquarters for Portland, Oregon. It's where they keep courtrooms there, as well as their offices, as well as a jail up on, I think it's like the 14th floor, and various other parts of the building. And then the actual police offices are on the opposite side of the building. But that building was breached, and the windows were broken. Fires were set in the offices, and then the sprinkler system came on and just destroyed everything with water. So that happened last night while there were fires that were being set all over downtown last night, and other buildings that were looted. So yeah, that's my update.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah, I'm just looking at this website at Portland.
Yeah, go ahead. There's a lot of
Portland.
people that are still gathering right now. Lots of horns, honking, traffic, pretty much just going around in a big circle around the block where all the protesters are as people stand by. And the curfew approaches. We're less than 2 hours away. So I think by then, probably an hour, maybe sooner, maybe later, the police will give an announcement that everybody needs to leave before the curfew is instituted, so they give them a chance. It's well known though, so it's well known though, so they may not. We'll see what happens. The mayor here will probably try to just de-escalate the situation as much as possible, because in Portland, Oregon, the mayor also has the role of police commissioner as well, which I think only a few cities in the United States have a mayor that does both.
So were those statistics that you cited, were those were just your state, or were those national statistics from NIJ?
I have to find them.
Because so the number that I got as far as and mind you, I want to preface this with,
it's from the FBI. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So we're taking the same source. Number of shootings by police. Same fiscal year, 1,165. Now,
they don't
mind
really
you,
keep track of them.
They have started keeping track of quite a bit of it. 996 fatal shootings overall. I mean, the problem is, like I said, the continuity of force thing, the whole continuum of force, it's a fluid situation.
Yeah, definitely. And what we're talking about, I guess, because it's from what I understand. I haven't been a police officer, obviously, but what I understand, police in Australia is that generally, again, people can get guns if they want, but generally, we don't have that instance where it's quite. I don't want just generalizing, but from what I see, what we see outside of America is it seems to be quite common for police to get shot for just doing something, for example, as simple as a traffic stop. So I can also, you can also, like, I guess, understand where police will be hesitant or anxious because of, if you're mates, or, you know what I mean? Like, if you join a group of guys and they're like, oh, yeah,
well, a lot of it too is in policing culture as well. Like, a lot of
difficult balance,
experienced cops will tell you like the ones that actually end up being really good law enforcement officers, will tell you one of the worst mistakes an officer, regardless of their jurisdiction or anything else, can make is to get in. It was described by one of the police chief, I think it was in Savannah, Georgia, quite a few years ago. He called it the blue bubble. And the blue bubble is basically where you're a sworn law enforcement officer, you work for a police agency, all your family are cops, all your friends are cops, you don't associate outside the law enforcement community, and so you turn into an echo chamber. And what this chief was saying from Savannah was saying that his worst offending officers all had that common problem. They stopped fraternizing, they stopped hanging out with, they stopped humanizing the communities that they were sworn law enforcement officers for. Like one of the problems with Minneapolis, or was Minneapolis they were talking about, is I believe the statistic was 94.1% of the sworn officers patrolling that area where Neon and Neckland happened don't even live anywhere near the area that they are law enforcement officers for. They're all kicking back out in the burbs somewhere or out in the rural countryside. They don't, off duty, they don't interact with their communities at all.
That is absolutely true in Minneapolis and St. Paul, for example, where we had George Floyd murdered. Only 5% of cops there in Minneapolis live in their city. Only 5%.
Yeah, we kind of
Jesus.
have the same. Now, it's not near as bad in the Las Vegas metro area, but a lot of the cops here, they live out in like the areas where I'm at, which are the unincorporated parts of Clark County in Nevada. Our firefighters do the same thing. Our EMS does the same thing. Nobody wants to live in the city. So they will literally do what a lot of us out here do and make that hour and a half, 2 hour round trip commute across the desert to go be cops or physicians or nurses or firefighters or paramedics or whatever. The interesting thing is, like I said, a lot of these people, and this is only for the Las Vegas metro area, but a lot of these people, are neighbors and stuff like that. I talk to them, and where I'm a white guy in my 40s and I have a military background, I'll talk to them openly about why they decided to come live out here instead of in Las Vegas proper. And off the top of my head, 8 times out of 10, they'll make a disparaging remark either about the black community, the Hispanic community, and that's their primary thing. I don't want my lily white children being raised around those thugs and gangbangers.
Yeah, man.
And out in my area, I have an area commander that lives out here. I have several senior sergeants with Las Vegas Metro live out here, several senior NHP troopers. There's an entire little kind of cul-de-sac neighborhood in my general area. A bunch of captains and battalion chiefs for Las Vegas Fire and Rescue all bought these homes so they could have their own little community within a community. Our law enforcement and our public servants are segregating themselves from regular people. Even in the early 2000s, as a professional soldier, I always got the feeling that we were segregating ourselves too much from the civilian community. And it's just gotten worse.
Aside from the I guess the racism aspect of it, I'm sure you can understand too. I can understand if they were doing it, or maybe they are in part doing it for a safety reason. For example, if they're patrolling and they're working in the city, and then they fear that if whoever they lock up or arrest, we'll try and find them, but then they figure if they're an hour out of town,
I
then
can
they probably won't bother.
I can address this so easily for you. It's hard to say on one hand. On the right hand, my life might be in danger if people know I'm a cop. And on the left hand, you're rocking a big monster truck with truck nuts and a big blue Lives Matter flag across it. Boot Cop Oakley's off duty. And you're always wearing police affiliated t-shirts.
Yeah.
Which is what happens in America.
And that's the other thing. I'm guessing it happens in most other countries as well. But it's there's always two sides to it. There's the safety aspect, so maybe that's why they're doing it. But also, like you said, like if you want to find a copper and like just like military people, they stick out like dog's balls. You know, like you're gonna pick out the person who's. Well, I'm not saying you're gonna be able to 100% identify that's a police officer, but you know, what I mean, generally, you know, they're gonna be had a haircut and shaved and blah blah whatever.
Again,
And if
though,
they
if
drive
I
their
could,
police car home, or you know what I mean, like that sort of stuff, obviously will give them away. So there's also that aspect, and I get exactly like I'm not trying to, I guess, argue why they, you know, like saying there's a reason. You know, what I mean, I'm not trying to say they're doing a right thing or wrong thing.
It's not a reason; it's an excuse, essentially.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's the thing too. The other side of it is why would you be a police officer if you're going to be scared for like potentially someone you arrested come to your house, because your entire job is to be on the front line and to fight crime and like fight the bad guys.
And look at it this way: you were in Australia, you deployed, you were infantry, right?
Yeah. And
you had a at any given time during the entire continuity of when the global war on terror was in its big heyday last decade, you had a $5,000 bounty on your head worldwide.
Well, I didn't know about that personally.
Family would get paid $5,000 for killing you.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
People like me, I had a $250,000 bounty on my head. Kill a guy that's in the soft community? Oh man, you're getting paid rich. But did any of that ever happen to any of us? No, not even close.
I'm sorry, I'm new here, but I was also in the Army, and we never treated even enemy combatants once captured the way that people are about it. Sorry.
No, but the way what you mean the way
they're being treated, we didn't treat. Even guys we knew killed our dudes, which is a lot bigger of a deal nowadays than it was in previous wars. You had a lot more people dying. So the guys that we lost, like, we would know their exact killer, and we still would not treat them the way that civilians are being treated over non-violent crimes. Like, this was over either a forged check or a counterfeit $10 bill, one way or the other.
20.
It really doesn't matter. Nobody with a gun should have ever approached that man whatsoever. There's a billion different ways that our justice system can address that issue.
So you know, I hear
we were talking about this earlier.
I hear the custody thing a lot and the resisting stuff thing a lot. So Taryn, I don't know what you did. I'm not going to ask. I was an 18 Zulu, but so prime example, I was escorting a detainee to the TIFF, the theater internment facility, for handoff to the military police. Well, during this, he kind of got away from me just enough, and he headbutted me and busted up my nose. It hurt like a SOB, man. It sucked. And my nose had that nice cherry red explosion. I just simply grabbed the person, maintained control of them again. I didn't use any kind of serious restraints on them or anything else. He was in zip cuffs, no problem. And continued to escort him and took care of my little nosebleed afterwards. Never once did I ever cross my mind, or any of the guys from my unit, oh, this guy just headbutted our head shed guy. Let's shoot him multiple times, or let's go ahead and use a restraint technique, get him on the ground and beat him half to death. That kind of stuff doesn't happen in our world too much, and when it does, you can bet your sweet bottom that somebody somewhere is going to see it. Somebody somewhere is going to see that's a violation of standards, and the sworn statements will break out, and that person's going to get some uniform code of military justice time.
Well, that's what we're talking about a little bit earlier, is that their military training, and not even just the training, obviously when you get deployed you get told what's the go, and your ROEs can change, like they obviously change sometimes, you know. Those stupid fucking card things are annoying to fucking carry around. But anyway,
ROE cards.
we are. It's a funny thing too, though, if you think about it, because we are held to a high standard, and yet, or at least the time that you were in and I was in 10 years ago, but we didn't have media, we didn't have people with cell phones with video camera, we didn't have like visual video recording, that sort of intense scrutiny to uphold those, Geneva Conventions and all the ROE stuff and whatever. But we did it because, and I believe even myself upheld all those things. Like you said, you have someone, for example, who may have killed your mate, but you're not going to go there and put a bullet in his head because he needs to get detained and, processed. And despite the fact that you want to fucking put a bullet in his head, you know what I mean?
Now,
like,
we did have...
But
we did have incidents. We did have some serious incidents with stuff like that. Everybody that was around last decade is going to remember Blindfold Naked Twister at Abu G, for example. What happened to those people? They're all federal felons and their lives are ruined. You can't say it's more of an American thing because I had to report one of your units for Class B war crimes.
So that's sorry, I didn't mean to stereotype or like not stereotype, just say it's an American thing, but I guess publicly there's more shit. And yes, like it's not just Americans who do bad shit, but I guess from my experience personally and from people I was with is that we're told to follow this really high, I guess, like we're held to a higher standard, or we have to follow this code, right?
I would say there's more of a toleration for violence of action among the American society, so long as you can otherize the person. We did that all the time. I don't know when you were in Terran, but remember people suddenly starting, using Haji as a pejorative? I don't know if you're still there at all, Terran.
Yeah, I mean, that's more complicated.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to talk about either, because
I don't think everybody meant it.
No, that's
as
true.
An insult. It was just descriptive. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying like
what it was. Like,
I'm saying you hear the civilians pick it up.
To let steam off.
I'm saying you'd hear the civilians pick it up. Like nothing annoys me worse than seeing somebody I know hasn't served a day in their life running around with American flag hats and grunt style T-shirts.
I hear you. No, all day. I hear you on that. That's absolutely asinine. I don't understand why anybody other than a military branch, and this is just a U.S. thing. I don't know about other countries, but you know how that we wear the flag on our right arm, because it's a battle flag, it's facing the way it would in battle. I don't understand why anybody that is not law enforcement or in the military wears their flag in that direction. That's totally. I don't
understand why law enforcement
mechanics
does
with a battle flag. Like that's wild to me.
I don't understand why law enforcement does it, and I know you missed a bit of the conversation, but one thing I said privately, and I'll say it publicly, is I would permanently bar any prior service military member from law enforcement for a lot of reasons. The chief among those reasons for Terran and the others is because it's a different set and standard of training. And
yeah, clearly, I didn't do the shit they do. Very clearly a different set of training. I don't know if that's good.
Well, let's look at the type of veteran that is attracted to law enforcement. The type of veteran that is attracted to law enforcement, in my experience, typically, is the combat arms guy that was a problem child in the unit, but not so much of a problem child as to be chaptered. Chaptering for the civilian community is an administrative action whereby you kick people out of the military.
They're not always bad. They're not always bad reasons.
I'm talking about, the.
But no, I know which ones you're referring to. But chaptering's not always bad.
I know it's not.
There's neutral. It's kind of like a. There was one guy, got an NFL contract, and they're like, "Yo, dude, that just makes sense." I don't really know. I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, like, maybe those are the ones that have been attracted to law enforcement, but is that what law enforcement's been looking for? I mean, how many compared to 20 years ago, how many more jurisdictions of various sizes now have armored personnel carriers? That's wild. That should not be a thing. The local police department should not have an armored personnel carrier. They should be escalating it to higher if they need that level of equipment. So if that's the way they've tried to evolve their departments, then that's going to be the kind of people that they are recruiting.
Yeah.
What up, Ace?
Hey, Ace.
Oh, he's gone now.
Ace is like, oh, there's a stream now. He don't want the Trump administration to smack him.
That's fair enough. Sorry,
but yeah, that's actually within the, I wouldn't say anti-police movement, but that's actually a reoccurring theme within the communities that are adverse to police excessive force. Is you have veterans like myself saying, if I wouldn't do this in Southwest Baghdad, or if I didn't do this when I was at the siege of Talafar in Iraq, why are you doing this here?
Yeah, but as a military, ex-military person who knows, the ethical and moral, not gonna say
Ramifications.
rules, but I mean, behind that, then doesn't that make you a better candidate to be a police officer? Because as a police officer, for example, you would be. Yeah, but this is what's interesting, because I guess, because what you've been saying as well about the American police stuff and things is that, from my understanding from Australian police, is that a lot of ex-military join the police force, and like I said, they're still got to go through the academy or whatever, but they join and they actually are better police officers. Not saying other police officers are shit, but generally they're morally or ethically better because, again, with the military side of things,
Okay, so I gotta break in here.
I just need to really quickly ask Ace, if you can hear me, is this a restream of somebody else's stream, or is that you? Oh, right, he's just jumped.
He might be having some difficulties.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to stream for us.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can grab him.
Yeah, check text comms if you can on that.
Yeah,
and the thing is, I used to say this to my guys at every level, and Karen, you, depending on where you were, this may out me to you. I was often fond of getting in front of my formations and saying, yeah, let's be honest, there's regulation and reality. Well, in that case, you have, in the law enforcement case, you have your code of ethics and everything. You also have a 1 to 2 year probationary period whereby a TO, a training officer, controls your entire life. And if you happen to get a bad TO, a corrupt TO, a TO that's prone to violence, and skirting the use of force laws within the continuum of force, and doing shady stuff, you're going to end up being that dirty cop, because that's the only way you're going to become a permanent cop.
Right, or that guy's going to wash you out. I understand that. But that just means that the system in place has found a way to push out former military that would help change the way that law enforcement acts and is viewed.
Most of the time, at least, for our generation of veterans, OEF, OIF veterans, we make very bad cops.
Why? Because we don't want to. I mean, but the reasons you're saying we make bad cops isn't a good reason that we're bad cops. We're actually better cops. Not willing to
the combination
violate people's constitutional rights.
Karen, we are rare, and you know it. We are very rare, and you know it. The type of military that law enforcement agencies recruit are not you and I, except for they did recruit me as a trainer for a while. But as far as the sworn officers, that we're not the type they're looking for. The type they're looking for.
That's an organizational failure that they're only trying to recruit people that'll be corrupt. That's not.
The kind that they're looking for are the law and order at any cost types. The mixed with the adrenaline junkie types.
I mean, that's been super not working for a few decades now. At
Yeah,
least.
but that's still what they're recruiting. I had a few guys that I served with that tried to be cops. They were solid people, solid professionals. None of them got in. One of them didn't get in because on the situational exam, he didn't use, quote, overwhelming force in the situation. The other one did get in, but he washed out in his probationary time again for the same thing. He wasn't quick to violence of action, even though this guy was a bat boy with me.
Yeah, so it's
That
like
boy
Chan
is,
said, that it's the organization then, right?
Yeah, and you have approximately 18,000 little organizations that have the exact same mentality. It's law and order at any cost. And when you do law and order at any cost, which we did try for a while in Iraq, it didn't work well.
Yeah,
It
but that's
blew right
also
up in our
slightly
faces.
different. Yeah, but that's also another whole.
No, it isn't,
there's
Billy. In an
layers.
Australian sense, it is. But in a U.S. sense, it is not very different. Okay, we've got Ace back in here. Let's go ahead and clear and see what he's up to.
Yep, I'm just I talked to him and he's cool with it. So
Okay, so is Ace actually streaming for us?
Where is that?
Okay, I wasn't sure. I see him streaming internally, but on our TIS stream. That's what I'm asking, if there's any way we can link that in.
I've linked it in. I've linked it in.
Oh, there it is. So we have A's, one of our members right now. He is streaming for us for some of the protests. We also have Naz here, and he's been streaming off and on. He's trying to get in and out.
Yeah, Naz is kind of like I think he had some issues with power, so like he's gone to sort that out at the moment.
I don't know if Ace can actually hear us or anybody can report. I'm assuming he's home, which is in the DC area.
Yeah. He said he's around the White House kind of area at the moment, so that's what's going on.
Okay, cool. And I just want to shout out a kind of a warning in the channel, or just a disclaimer in the channel. We know what Ace does for a living. Let's not broadcast it to people.
Yep. He's just being our eye in the sky right now. That's all it is.
So the thing is, like, you have defense, offensive operations, shaping operations, all that stuff. And, there was an entire decade during the whole global war on terror where the military and law enforcement started to kind of link up together. I mean, the CIA literally came in and revamped NYPD's entire intelligence division for them, and they still have an office there. You had, for the really old people, or people my age and older, people in their 40s and older, will remember a time when we had no Department of Homeland Security. Now we have a rather overreaching DHS. We have militarized our law enforcement so much that a lot of the TTPs, the tactics, techniques, and procedures that I see used by street cops are what I can only describe as our tactics, techniques, and procedures ramped up to 11.
Yep.
Sorry. Just quickly, is there audio on this footage or?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, all right. That's not.
I
wasn't sure if it was my end.
I don't know if Ace can actually hear me, but like, yeah, dude, try stay as safe as you can. Like, don't try risk shit just to give us kind of like images and stuff. But just stay safe, dude, as best you can.
Yeah, that goes for anybody. Me tonight, I'm not going out. I'm gonna chill here with all of you. I was out in Vegas last night.
You're not gonna go to a strip club?
They aren't open right now. Hookers and Blow is phase 4 reopening. We're at phase 2.
Oh, okay.
And to answer the questions in chat, no, the sun is not up in Washington, D.C. It's 21:39 local time there, 18:39 on the West Coast. And just for those of you just kind of tuning in for our 27 viewers, because, yeah, normally we're an Eve streaming thing, but we're covering what we can of the civil disobedience and disorder situations across 30 plus cities in the U.S.
Oh, hang on. What's up, Bates?
He said tear gas is being deployed.
Oh, shit.
A's, if you want to talk, man, or yell, or whatever, floor is yours.
Oh, looks like it's fucking crazy over there, though.
Yeah, now mind you, depending, somebody was saying something earlier, and this is true, depending on the weather and the humidity factors, CS, tear gas, is not as effective. So a lot of times law enforcement agencies will use another military thing. They'll use flashbangs. Now, having thrown those things indoors and outdoors, you don't really get just how bad the effect is on a flashbang
They're
unless you're
fucking
actually there.
crazy.
You can take a room and disable everyone in that room and disorient them for 30 seconds to a minute.
And the fact
they're
you
not
know
as
it's happening
effective in
doesn't
an
help.
open space. They're not as effective in an open space.
All right, guys, I gotta stop for a bit. I'm gonna go find some. Milk and wash out my eyes.
Oh, yeah,
All
dude,
right,
go
Ace,
for it.
stay safe there. Here's the thing, though. I've used them in urban settings too, and you actually get that kind of room effect, Taryn, in large kind of canyonous urban settings, especially when they're air bursting multiple flashbangs at once.
So I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, we did.
That's not what I was streaming.
Yes,
Yeah, we
did,
saw
Ace.
it, dude.
They fired off a volley of something into the crowd. Plus, they hit a tear gas. There's
They used
dumpsters burning the street.
flashbangs and CS freeze.
Next to me.
Yeah, we saw it. They used flashbangs and CS freeze. CS freeze is a derivative.
Gas. Stop for a minute. Put on goggles.
Yeah, dude,
Sam,
do
the
everything that you
goggles
need
won't
to do,
help.
man. Like, just, keep yourself safe.
Yeah, though we did see it always. Just to kind of give an overview, we're kind of doing a weird thing tonight. This is rioting in stations. We're covering the nationwide protests, riots, civil disobedience in response. United States currently has curfews set up in over 30 cities, and there's active protests or civil disobedience ongoing in over 40 cities in the United States.
It's kicking off something serious. I just thought, like, the reason why we're doing this stream is because, like, we don't normally do anything like this, but we had we had initially Naz what decided that he was he'd throw up a IRL stream because he'd kind of done a lot of that kind of stuff before, or at least as far as that's right, Vic? He's done some of that reporting sort of stuff before, or at least sort of.
Who has?
Naz.
Yeah, Naz has.
So, like, and it was pretty cool. We were pretty energized, quite interested about it. So we thought we wanted to share it. And then Naz had to go and kind of do some stuff, and recharge his phone and some other things. I think he was also working on trying to get a drone working, but I wasn't really working that well.
The station stream. I mean, I want to know the venue. So.
Okay, so.
But then we also had A's there, like, literally out of the blue, literally come up with a stream from Washington, D.C., which was fucking really awesome.
Yeah, so A's is streaming in D.C. He's off stream right now because he He was part of a
Literally.
group that got a combination 1-2 effort of flashbangs and CS gas.
Yeah, that's a pretty obnoxious combination.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, he's gone to source some milk and like recover her a little bit.
Well, I want to know: is there a stream? Are you guys on camera or something like that?
Yes.
We're talking.
Well, the answer is actually yes, because we have people intermittently streaming this, but one guy's battery died, and the other guy just got CS gassed and flashbanged. So yes, we're not just talking about this. We have intermittent streamers.
And I mean, I can't really talk because I'm Australian, but this is entertaining for us who don't live in America, and we can just look at it from the outside. But yeah, I guess we're talking about stuff in general as well, just to keep the conversations or entertainment going, I guess, while we're waiting for people to.
Yep. Oh, and some of the developments in the last hour. Trump Tower buildings in Chicago and New York City are currently focal points of demonstrations. Illinois State Police are mobilized in force. Multiple National Guard units have been activated throughout the country. The most interesting thing, again, that I find is places that are not sources of usual protest. My town, Las Vegas, is not known as a protest town. Salt Lake City, Utah, is definitely not known as a protest town. Was it Rancho Cucamonga in California? Now, for those in our audience that don't know California well, that is like the most kind of white bread white of California places. Currently, LA has shifted. The protesters are organizing, and they've overrun some barricades. And instead of going in their own neighborhoods, they're like, we're not falling for this trap. They're going into Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, the more glitzy areas.
Oh, I just watched cops drive into a crowd of people.
Where at?
New York.
In NYC, or because there's another area too, Buffalo, New York, not known as a big protest place.
Yeah, right. No, this is NYC.
Oh, and speaking of NYC, we were talking about, hey, where are all the celebrities? John Cusack is streaming and taking video today. And he's right in the middle of all this.
Well, I guess he's got to be relevant. He hasn't done anything in like 20. I mean, not wrong, right? I don't know. Honestly, can't really bag the guy out. He's definitely got more money than I have. He lives in a mansion.
And you know, the interesting thing about this is, again, like example, apparently Senator Kamala Cobb Harris was right in the middle of the dust ups in front of the White House today.
Who?
Kamala Harris. She was a presidential candidate, and the nickname among the left for was Kamala Cop Harris, because a lot of her career, when she was a district attorney and attorney general, was covering down for abusive law enforcement.
Well, she was involved. How much of? Okay.
As attorney general, she was a chief decider, to use the Bushism, on whether or not certain people that had actually been, their convictions had been overturned, actually got released. And she said, nope. Oh, your conviction's been vacated. You're still not getting released.
Jesus.
And when police accountability initiatives came up through California, she blocked nearly every one of them. And this warms my little black heart. Apparently in Beverly Hills, California, the protesters, again, I said, moved to the more wealthy areas, and they're chanting "Eat the Rich" in Beverly Hills, in the historic Beverly Hills shopping district. They're not trashing anything, but they have completely blockaded in the area.
Wow.
But I mean, some of these early, what we're seeing in like the various streams and stuff that aren't ongoing, but they just capture. We're seeing snapshots of how the various protesters, rioters, whatever you want to call them, the U.S. citizens, and the police are acting. A lot of those snapshots are rather disturbing, like the beatdowns and arrest of media, like credentialed media, the almost vindictive. Oh
We
yeah.
got A's back again.
So we got Commander Ace coming back in live from Washington D.C. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to him.
Yep, we're good. He's on. I don't know how much he's going to be able to say or stuff, but like, yeah. If you want to say anything, just like just have at it. We'll other than that, we'll just we'll still carry on talking while we give while you give us the pictures. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, there's no audio.
Yeah, I know. This is.
That's no problem.
You may not even be able to hear us.
He can hear us, I'm fairly certain.
So we're seeing appears to be a generally, yes, it's a large crowd, but it seems generally peaceful, in spite of just having been maced or not maced, CS gassed and flashbanged.
What is CS? What does that mean?
CS is a capsaicin. It's an irritant used for crowd dispersal and compliance.
Oh, we used to call it civil suppressant. I don't know what the official.
Yeah, but its basis is capsaicin, the same thing that's in chili
Chilies.
peppers.
Yeah.
For the eyes or the nose or both?
Eyes, nose.
Um,
If you have respiratory
skin
difficulty,
irritant.
it can kill you. It is a skin irritant as well.
It'll burn. I mean, it's not like crazy, but it burns. It definitely hits your respiratory the hardest.
Yeah, when I first got experience of CS was in Tara and I both, and I don't know how the Aussies were, was in infantry school at Fort Benning. And I had a severe cold. And after 5 minutes of CS, my nose was clear.
Yeah. Oh, I threw up everywhere. That was brutal.
Yeah, it will choke you out, causes difficulty breathing.
And you think you're strong. You think you got it. For like 5
Nope.
seconds, and then fucked. That was in an enclosed area, though, too.
Even in an open area, it can be bad.
Oh, we used to make bombs out of our MREs.
Oh, well, this is interesting. Salt Lake City had, I guess somebody watched Red Dead Redemption and played Grand Theft Auto too much. There was a large Caucasian male that got out of his POV during the protests and started shooting people with a hunting bow. Like a large recurve bow, yes.
What a fucking
He was eventually subdued and beaten by the protesters.
Good. Jesus fucking Christ. Like that's the ridiculous, that's like the dumbest thing you can fucking do. Well, I mean it's a fucking dumb thing. Let's not say the dumbest thing, because I mean there's a very massive scale of dumb things that people can do.
Is there a city under 700,000 that this is not happening in? All right.
What's that?
Is this happening in every major metropolitan area in the country?
Oh, pretty much, yeah.
Hey, where was that incident where the where police apparently plowed their vehicle into a crowd of people?
It was New York City, right?
I got you. I'll get you a thing. I'll put it in the chat.
I don't think I'll be able to actually restream it.
Oh no, that's fine. Just so you can see it.
It's pretty graphic.
It was in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well.
We're firing the gas again, guys.
Alright, get safe, dude. Get safe.
Back up. So the interesting thing about what A's is kind of reporting here is that the crowd seemed to be generally peaceable and peaceful,
Mm.
and people are just kind of walking around chanting stuff like that. And then law enforcement, I don't know what agencies, but law enforcement agencies suddenly come in and start CSing people, flashbanging, bull rushing people. I saw this in Las Vegas last night too. The protesters, you'd have your usual standoff line with a fair bit of distancing. Oh, A's is showing actually that looks like rubber bullet injuries.
Oof.
That's 40 millimeter. It looks like, but you have the civilians being generally peaceful, and then law enforcement will come in, start macing people, pepperballing people, punching people. There was one poor individual last night in Las Vegas that was crossing a crosswalk to get back to his car. Actually, wasn't involved in the protests at all. He was trying to get back to parking, and he was swarmed by 6 officers that tackled him in the middle of the street and arrested. We had 2
That's wild,
journalists
man.
last night, one from Agency Fronts Press and one from the Review Journal, who's owned by mega Republican donor Sheldon Adelson, that were assaulted and arrested last night by Las Vegas Metro. And there's going to be some blowback from that. I think there's going to be blowback in a lot of locations because we keep hearing the same narrative that they didn't identify themselves as press and stuff like that. But then you see the video, you still see the still images and hear the audio. And in fact, they do identify, and they're clearly marked as press. I'm not talking about Unicorn Riot and their live stream. I'm talking about
In mainstream
serious
media.
newspapers and news networks getting assaulted and arrested.
Yeah.
Or
Some
like,
even live. Some even actually live at the time as well.
Yeah, that happened to CNN or in Atlanta. Was
You
it
mean law
yesterday?
enforcement lied?
I know,
So
they would never do that.
how organized is the response? Is a nationwide centralized command from the police?
No, this is just a bunch of people that are angry.
Local. No, I don't mean the people that are angry. I mean the police are no. Are they getting direction to act in a unified manner at all anywhere, or is it all?
Yes, they're getting directions to act. Yes, they're getting directions from everywhere to do that. There's a chain of command, just like in the military.
I mean, are they? I mean, is it centralized? Is there one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes,
Well,
it
no,
is
earlier we were talking about
centralized.
the different states, so different police forces in different states are doing different things.
No question.
But if you look at it, there's a uniformity nationwide to the response, and that's because the training, the standards, the culture is uniform. When you train, it doesn't matter if you have 8 law enforcement agencies or 18,000 plus. If you're training them all the same to essentially respond with overwhelming force within the continuum of force, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah, but like again, like he's asking, like I was saying before, though, if they get directions by their hierarchy, their commanders, like aren't different state police chiefs and whatnot? Some of them, like we were talking about earlier, some of them were saying, "Don't upset the riots," and then maybe some of them are just not even saying anything to, like we're talking about police just continue as normal.
Yeah,
Look,
some are escalating and some aren't. Right.
so far the escalation stuff, I would say some are not escalating, but most are escalating. Now, granted, where this started, that's a little different.
Do we have a resource for the? Is there a map? Does anybody have a map of?
Well, I can tell you what states have activated their National Guard. That's off the top.
Okay, has Colorado?
Colorado has not yet. But if they do, I know what units they'll activate.
Well, I mean, I'm in Colorado Springs. We've got more military here than we know what to do with.
Well, you've got active component military, and we haven't went there yet. But I know that they'll activate one of the battalions for 19th.
Whoa.
Because 1st Battalion, yeah, that was a flashbang. Another interesting historical thing that happened today, Ohio activated its National Guard for civil disturbance. And for frame of reference, the last time Ohio activated their National Guard to confront civil disturbances in a major fashion like this, 13 college students were killed at Kent State in 1970.
Jesus.
I'd like to hope. I know I'm not American, so it's just nothing for me to say. But I hope that if that is the national, like you said, the National Guard thing, you'd like to hope that they won't do something like that, right? In today.
Oh.
Some will, some
Hey,
won't.
Naz. We got Naz here
Okay,
as well.
We've got Naz streaming as well now from Portland, Oregon. To give you a little bit of update, Naz,
I'm not sure whether I can grab both of them at the same time, but I'll try.
Okay, cool. A's has been streaming. Can you hear us, Naz?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, so A's has been streaming. I don't know how it's going in Portland presently, but A's has been flashbanged and CS gassed multiple times.
Okay, well, the Portland police just made an announcement to clear the intersection out. You can kind of see up ahead, there's a lot of movement. People are running. It sounds like people are about to get hit here with less lethal weapons.
Oh, and Alonj, I have an update for you. Denver has set an 8 p.m. curfew, and the National Guard has been activated.
Thank you.
Here we go.
For those of you just joining us, we're at Rioting in Stations live from Portland, Oregon.
Those are the police. Those are flashbangs. You can see people running. There is about a couple thousand people here now. At least 2,500 people. The crowd has grown significantly in the past hour.
Second flashbang.
Back off! People are. That is the third, fourth.
Someone could keep an eye on Aza's stream as well, just to.
So we can start gas with that.
You got people over here that have been maced in the face. They're being treated right now. There is tear gas in the atmosphere now. They have deployed tear gas. You can see the police there in the street. They are deploying. It's really hard to kind of breathe right now, so I'm backing up.
All right, dude.
Okay, and yeah, it's getting a little bit spicy everywhere right now. For those of you just joining the stream, I'm Victor Fell. I'm a retired U.S. Army. We have A's and Naz streaming for us, who are both current or former civil servants in some capacity or another that I'm not disclosing. And we have quite a few people in the active stream that are from the military community and professional public servants commenting on these ongoing events. There are currently protests and or riots in 40 plus cities throughout the United States over
So there we go.
violence.
There's the
There's
line.
a couple people, it looks like, that have been arrested, and they're on the ground behind the police lines.
It's interesting the cars that keep driving around in the circles as well. They're obviously there to create an interference as well between the cops.
Yeah, maybe. They were doing that like about an hour or so earlier as well, so
Yeah,
been
and
a
a lot of them
constant thing.
they look like the same cars, yeah. But that's the tactic, right? Because then people can try and duck behind them or...
People are on the sidewalk and
Okay, guys, I think I'm headed out.
Alright, dude.
Yeah, stay safe, Ace. Stay safe, man. Get back home.
Thank you so much, dude. It was not necessary, but very grateful, man.
Yeah. I wonder how they'll feel in the morning when they realize they may have.
You need to disperse to the north. Failure to comply with this lawful order be subject to gas, projectiles, and other means necessary for dispersal.
So they're saying disperse to the north, otherwise we'll be subject to projectiles, chemical weapons, or other use of force.
You should really put this on the Twitter feed, rioting in stations.
Did Discord ping go out for the live stream?
Only in the IRL stream. Only in the sort of politics IRL.
Time to go.
Yeah, I'd get pretty far back because they're going to pick people who are just by themselves. It's easier to fucking arrest someone when you're by yourself, so yeah, I'd pull back. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me.
I think it's pretty loud over there.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're doing dispersion tactics though, which is their way of netting people.
They're firing tear gas into the crowd. This is 1 hour before the curfew.
They want people by themselves. They're easy to capture when you're by yourself, so that's what.
It's an hour before the curfew. That's
Yeah.
sickening, honestly.
Yeah, people threw some stuff at the police, and they considered it an unlawful assembly. And they told everybody that they're subject to use of gas.
Alright then, Ace. You sure? You okay with that? I really
Is Ace is back with us?
Ace is back. Jesus Christ. Like,
oh Jesus.
Ace is the federal civil servant we need.
Oh God.
It's like they're firing tear gas down there and over there.
Ace, you know, part of you wants to go up through that line and say, "Hi, I'm X with X," and what the hell are y'all doing?
Police are advancing west on Main Street downtown.
So, Naz, did you say that this kind of kicked off less with the police and more with the civil
someone threw something at the police
and throwing objects at the police?
Yeah, first the police said that they wanted the streets cleared, and then they weren't moving, and then people were standing there, and then I don't know who fired or threw something first, but there was either way, the police ended up shooting all kinds of things at the crowd, and then people started throwing things back at the cops. It's uncertain who threw things or did things first.
It's not to alarm you, but they're getting ready to rush the street you're in.
They're just standing in line right now.
This event has been an unlawful.
They're going to rush you.
You need to disperse to the north. Failure to comply with this lawful order may subject you to gas, projectiles, and other means necessary for dispersal.
I'm gonna jump in my car really fast.
Alright, dude.
Yeah, you're all good, man. They're doing exactly what fucking I would do in fucking that situation.
If you're out there streaming, just be careful. Do not get arrested. We appreciate what what we're getting from you, but we don't want you guys putting yourselves in danger or being under arrest or otherwise remanded to custody.
This is
Exactly.
saying, like, as an Australian, like, obviously I don't understand fully how you Americans have to live day to day and all this sort of stuff, but it's just insane. Like, obviously, again, like for someone who doesn't live there, but also at the same time, I think with Asia's stream, I mean, there's a bit of been like a T-bang, gas and flashbangs, but it's been fairly peaceful. But I'm just watching it now, though. But with Naz's one, yeah, that got really intense, like real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I live in America, and I wasn't expecting that from Portland.
But as like if you've done like with not even military, but law enforcement, but military training, right, with riot control, they were doing exactly what I was taught 10 or bloody 12 years ago now.
Yeah, it's fairly
Dispersion
textbook.
tactic, and then they're lining up. Yeah, it's textbook, and that's what I was saying. As like they're gonna rush you, like you need to move. Like he's like they're forming up. Yeah, they're forming up to bloody rush, and so and I don't know the bloke. I've only spoken to him tonight, but like my heart's beating out of my chest because I'm like I'm not physically there, but I'm just like, man, get out of there. Like
they've been doing that since the shield wall.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's the textbook tactic, right? And it's like when you know they're going to do it. Yeah, but when you know they're going to do it, you're just like, oh, get out of there, man.
The general idea of that tactic is, it's about momentum. You cause.
But you need people by themselves too, right? You need to disperse them as individuals because people are easier to tackle by themselves instead of groups because you can get other people hit you over the head and stuff if you're trying to get someone
even if they're maintaining a group. So the purpose, you CS to start to disperse people. You flashbang to shock, and during that shock, you use those few moments of disorientation to grab the people you're trying to arrest. Now, it may very well be that they had those individuals tagged that were actually throwing dangerous projectiles at the officers. And they're like, we got to get these guys and arrest them, or girls, and arrest them.
Yeah.
But we don't want to just swarm
but
in.
At the same time, you want to take your opportunities, right? So you still want to nab people who are vulnerable in a sense that they're by themselves. Like in Australia, though, we don't use flashbangs.
Here people threw some empty water bottles, and then there was like a gallon of milk that got thrown at some cop's leg. So that's the extent of things that I saw that were.
Yeah, and that gave the cops their legal right to start to move.
We've lost Naz, and I think we've lost A's both.
Well, I brought mine down because I had to get out of there because there's so much gas. So I'm gonna sign off. I'll be back on the stream in a minute for commentary. I gotta get home.
That's cool, dude. That's fine.
Get home, stay safe, avoid arrest.
Yeah, I'll be back in probably about 25 minutes.
So Las Vegas is warming up nicely. This time they've brought groups of legal observers that are clearly marked from various law firms in the Las Vegas area.
Is this on the civilian side or the police side?
This is on the civilian side.
Oh, yeah.
A's is trying to get his stream back up for us, but it's kind of dead walling. There's another little thing. It's been unclassed for a while, so I'll mention it. Some agencies tend to use the Warlock system anymore, which will cut off cell towers, or at least disrupt it.
Yeah, I find that quite egregious as well, because that stops people. Before. Because that's because we've also heard of reports of sort of cops allegedly confiscating cameras and recording equipment and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Now there is a bit of a false story regarding Las Vegas that I want to clear up for all our viewers. Yes, there were photojournalists detained, and there was a bit of a knee-jerk story that they were deleting the photos off the journalists' cameras. The photojournalists have both come out and said, although the things happened, no, they didn't delete any of the photos. They were turning the cameras off for them, but they didn't know how to get them to function.
sure.
Oh, and
But the
hey,
question is,
That's
did the
exactly
photos
yeah.
are the
That's what
photos
I was
still
doing.
there? Are the
no,
photos still there?
yes, they are, and they've released them today. And
Okay.
we have another bit of breaking news. Our Orange Julius Fuhrer has spoken. And, quote, the National Guard has been released in Minneapolis to do the job that the Democrat mayor couldn't do. Should have been used 2 days ago, and there would not have been damage, and police headquarters would not have been taken over and ruined. Great job by the National Guard. No games.
Yeah, the thing is, the mayor did call in the National Guard before Trump ever even spoke about it on Twitter.
Look, and those of us that have been in the military or any kind of chain of command environment, we've all had that one leader. Even within various agencies and stuff, we've all had that one leader that couldn't stand to share the limelight with anybody else for a minute and had to take the credit for everything. We have that leader as the president of the United States currently. So we just got to take that with a grain of salt. I think Commander A's is
Yeah.
safe again. Yay.
Yeah, I'm just.
Oh,
I was
man,
just.
like,
I was
if
literally
it's
just messaging
sorry.
him. Kind of. I was just literally messaging him. I wasn't entirely certain whether he knew whether we weren't getting video from him or not. But I just told him, like, if he's not trying to send video, then, like, keep himself safe.
In fact, somebody was asking about the photos and everything. So Elaine Schmidt was one of the journalists arrested yesterday. She works for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, which hilariously is Sheldon Adelson, the Republican mega donor's personal newspaper in Las Vegas. And the only newspaper because he buys the rest out and shuts them down. And she has released photo montages of last night onto Twitter.
We got a few
and
more.
onto
We got a
their
few more
site.
images from A's from in DC. I'll try to put that.
Oh yeah, like, I love this shit. This is exciting as all hell. But and again, I don't know these people from a borough, so, but it's, yeah, obviously, like you guys have been saying, don't get yourselves into too much trouble and shit. As
Oh,
much as I love seeing all the footage that they're showing us, but yeah.
So we actually have a legal, and by legal I mean legally kind of semi-binding public statement that just came out. The
Ooh.
Chief Justice of the Peace, Susan Bauckham, who is the Chief Justice of Peace for the entire city of Las Vegas, is calling into question the tactics of Las Vegas Metro, saying, quote, no one arrested on failure to disperse misdemeanor charge last night, including the journalist, should have had to post bail. Due to COVID-19, especially those arrested last night should have been released to OR. So we may actually see some legal action by the bench of 8th Judicial District in Las Vegas, Nevada, against the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department when the dust settles.
Damn, I hope that's replicated in other areas as well.
Well, the thing is, like, some of us military guys and the people that have been in civil service understand what a tough job these guys have and girls have. At the same time, part of being a professional in law enforcement or a professional soldier is having the discipline not to just instinctually react and go berserk on a crowd because you're outnumbered.
Yeah, and it's well, what we say a lot in Australian is controlled aggression.
Mm-hmm.
You get taught
Controlled
to
management of violence.
Yeah, well, that's controlled aggression. It's you get taught to stab sandbags with knives and blah blah, and go on the range, and you're there to be frontline, kill, but you've got to obviously control that. Like it's obvious, but you don't go out to a nightclub and be like, yeah, I'm gonna stab everyone, But when the time comes to it, you got to be able to release it. I know, right? Why can't you get a nightclub step? No, it's probably not really.
I wish I could
talk about right now with the riots happening.
No, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, that's bad, especially if Eve.
That's bad. But yeah, like you know what I mean. Like when you're on the when it's you know what I mean. You like it's obvious when the time comes to releasing aggression, you release that aggression, right? And I'm not saying everyone should join the military or whatever to learn that, but there are definitely a lot of people in life who do need to learn that.
Yeah.
And sorry, I meant learn how to kill people. I mean learn to control their aggression.
Yes. And it's hard. It's really hard when you've got people up for whatever reason screaming in your face and stuff like that. Man, I know the other U.S. Army guy will get it in the room, but if I had $1 for every time a shoe was thrown at me in Iraq, I'd have a lot of dollars.
But the thing is, right? So as
Well, we got
like you
we
say,
got
if
A's back
someone's
again, by the way.
screaming. Oh, sweet. Like
No,
you're
that's
saying,
cool.
if someone's screaming in your face, like generally, as if it wasn't a military thing where you could literally get put in a cell for punching someone in the face because they're yelling in your face, right? So you got to cop it, right? You got to shut your mouth, deal with someone screaming at you. But that, in a way, teaches you, like, and it's not trying to be all guru or whatever, but it's like a meditative, it's like a soul searching thing where you go, okay, I need to bite my tongue. I cannot punch this guy in the face. I have to cop him screaming in my face for like 5 minutes. But you come out of that going, okay, well, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing where you can get frustrated and angry, but you can control that.
What was that about the National Guard, A's? I think he just said the National Guard just charged.
Is this DC? So this is DC, right?
Yeah, this is District of Columbia. Speaking of National Guard, the Texas National Guard has been deployed and are currently heading into Austin and the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. They've activated approximately 1,500 soldiers. Oh, wait, no, that's 1,500 soldiers to Houston alone. For those of you just tuning in, we're watching Commander A's live stream from Washington, D.C. of the civil disobedience protest, whatever you want to label it. And this is Rioting in Stations.
I can't believe Madroll changed the actual channel to this. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's great.
That heat map that Rolly posted, it doesn't look like New York's that.
Well, you have to look at it, and New York City has millions of people.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is here, we have a lot of people in here from, our group talking here, and then I don't know where everybody's from in Texas, but we're from all over the world with various backgrounds and everything. I think we've got at least 3 infantry guys in here, 1 from Australia, 2 from the United States. And it's kind of interesting to hear that we're all essentially coming to the same kind of conclusions.
So San Antonio looks like it's a hot spot too.
Which heat map is this? Is this the one in
It's the one.
Oh, you posted it. Cool.
Yeah, it's the Snapchat maps where it's it's people that published it to Snapchat stories.
Maybe we can post. Maybe we can get somebody with admin powers for the Twitch stream to post a link to that for the viewers. And to answer your question, the sinful from earlier, I'm sorry I've been kind of ignoring chat. As far as police records and stuff like that.
Get out of here.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, they said he had to bounce, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay, yeah. As far as police records go, and things like that, pretty much every modern or semi-modern law enforcement agency has what they call a central vault for evidence, so that's not in danger. Records are computerized and updated to multiple redundant databases, so none of that is in danger.
Sorry, say again.
I was just saying to the text viewer that asked about the police station getting burned down and stuff like that, and evidence files and criminal cases and stuff like that. None of that's really in danger.
Oh, sorry. You're okay. Yeah, you're responding to someone in text chat. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying
So
to
I
keep
was
up
like,
with the text
like,
chat.
yeah. See, when you're on your, especially I'm trying to make an excuse, but it's just when you're on your phone, you can only see the obviously voice channel that you use to talk in. So I always like don't see people that talk in that the text chat.
Now, something we haven't discussed and I'm a bit concerned about is given this mass protest movement, civil disobedience movement that's going on, and just the sheer number of people in close proximity, it is a bit concerning about the spread of COVID. I have a feeling we're going to see some serious spikes.
It's going to blow up again.
Are we going to get into this like conspiracy theory debate argument about coronavirus and shit?
No, I absolutely hate
We're just
conspiracy
talking about
theories.
that's
like
purely a
people who propagate them.
pandemic, a behavioral
I was going to say
health
because
thing.
I can't be bothered with that crap.
No, not at all. No, we're only saying that because of the protests and the close proximity of everybody, it's going to spread more than it was.
I'm just stirring you up. Sorry.
Oh no, that was a big thing. Everybody was crazy, man. Saying that they come on, dude. They went over there and got it on purpose just to mess with the election. What is wrong with you?
Oh, that's an American thing, though. I can't relate.
And
the flat Earth, you know.
The sinful to answer your question, yes, throwing shoes or showing the bottoms of your sandals or shoes is an insult pretty much universal throughout the Middle East. It's a middle finger.
Oh yeah, that's well like throwing shoes at people.
Yeah, I got a few shoes and sandals chucked at me back in the day. I didn't see it in Afghanistan really, but I saw it in Iraq a lot.
I was going to make a joke. I just realized, I remember we're on live stream, so I'm not going to make the joke.
Thank you for that.
In terms of the coronavirus thing, here's the thing though, right? With anything, like with humans, with people, they're seeing this whole rioting, or they're seeing a cause, right? They're seeing something to go for that has clearly completely out-trumped any of their fears that people have been fearing for months now about coronavirus, right? And when I say that, I'm not saying coronavirus is nothing, or I'm not trying to start that argument or whatever crap, you know. But that's the thing with obviously human nature and human psychology is when there's something people feel that, and I'm not saying people consciously go, oh, I'm ready to die for this, but it's in a sense of if they feel like it's important or they're passionate enough to go for it, then stuff like, for example, the whole coronavirus risk just completely goes out the window, right? Because they're so...
Well, I mean, that's kind of the mentality behind triage. You know what I mean? Like, we already had a punctured lung, but then we got our leg chopped off, and we need to prioritize that for a period. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. Like, we're still highly aware of COVID.
Yeah, but hang on. But with triage, okay, you're not wrong. But with triage, that's more of like a, I guess, life-saving medical thing. What I'm talking about, though, is, say, in the last few months, is that everyone's been so obsessed with lockdown, stay at home, coronavirus will kill you. And then now it's, again, not saying that it's
this is way too important.
No, yeah, exactly. But exactly, all these people have gone, and I guarantee they're not consciously also worried about coronavirus, right? But they're thinking about what's taken up most of their conscious mind is, I need to, make a stand in this, riot or whatever, injustice, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's something else that's overridden that, and
also, Billy, in before the cops try to start charging people with attempted murder if any of them get COVID from this.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Jesus Christ.
Or battery.
Oh, that's a stretch.
That's the whole powder.
You'll have some ambulance chasers try to argue that.
Burn, man. You want the whole country to burn.
If I wanted the whole country to burn, I can call my old ODA, the 4 of them that are left alive, because the other ones are all dead.
Let's not do anything rash.
Nah, but you know what I mean? It's interesting. Like, you see that, and it's like, okay, what happened to this? And again, I'm not trying to start this whole debate about coronavirus and it's lethal or not, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, it's whole thing where we're seeing right now people have completely put that out the window for something else.
Yeah.
And that's actually
it's
in a positive. It's a prioritization, but also in a way, and it sounds weird, but in a positive way, though, it just shows how we're going to move forward. And even now with the riots.
Not completely out the window, because people are social distancing even in these large groups, right? They're trying to, right? At least, and they're wearing masks, so it's not completely out the window.
Flashbangs do tend.
That's true. No, that's true. Yeah, but,
you've just figured it out. CS and flashbangs, they're trying to help the protesters social distance.
Dude, I mean, CS
that's all they're doing,
right? But shit. I mean, if CS could cure cancer, then everyone would be stiffing that shit.
Wait, what is this? I'm reading this from somebody that's at the protests in Dallas, Texas, and they're reporting Dallas protest looks like a setup. Pallets of bricks lying around suddenly that weren't there yesterday. Are you kidding me?
I know. I remember seeing that. Like, I remember seeing a news thing about it. They were literally pallets of bricks. It's like I have no idea. On the street,
right?
It's weird.
Is there like a brick thing going on?
No. There wasn't any like from what I remember seeing the video that I saw of it. It wasn't like there were pallets of bricks near a construction site. There were like no construction sites anywhere near it. It was just like a pallet of bricks with a cover over it, right? Like on the sidewalk, like, you know, by a T-junction, by an intersection kind of thing.
It's interesting how the Rona times have changed things. Remember just a short 1 year ago when Republicans in Congress tried to make it a Class C felony for participating in a protest while wearing any kind of mask?
Well, yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but yeah, there is kind of like a bit of a pandemic going on. Yeah.
And DC has an anti-mask law, but just a few months ago there were right-wing protests there, and everybody was masked up. The police did absolutely nothing about it.
Actually, everybody wearing masks may have enabled the crowd to take more action than before.
Yeah, I know. I'm making a joke.
Absolutely.
It's less about Corona and more about the double standard. Because
that's
at least
like
I
the
found,
whole Muslim.
Let's not go on a hijabs.
No.
Hijabs, niqab,
hijab.
all that.
Yeah, so I'm not trying. So again, not trying to be rude. Not trying to start thinking about them, but I'm just saying with the hijab stuff, we had a thing in Australia which the bill didn't pass, but it was a bill, you know, to ban those because again they were arguing for safety and counterterrorism, or even someone could rob a bank with a hijab and blah blah, But I get that aspect. Saying similar with the mask aspect, I get that if you're allowed to wear it in public, you could commit crimes and get away with it, But
I did personally, literally detain a dude in Afghanistan that was a bomber dressed like a woman.
And that's the thing. Like, we understand the argument for those who want to ban, for example, a hijab. And again, not trying to get into the whole political race, whatever crap that starts. No. I'm just saying, like, I get the whole.
It's apples and oranges,
the mask
really.
Stuff, right? But
well, the mask thing came out the mask thing came about in the U.S. because of Antifa, and everybody chomping at the bit about Antifa. Which is
it's always about something, right? It always comes down to either a religion or a race or a ideology or whatever.
It comes down to when the other side does it, it's bad. When we do it, it's good. By the way, as of
KKK's allowed to do it, like that's fine.
Well,
that's an example. An ideology. They're an ideology. Why can't they? Why shouldn't they be treated the same as people wearing masks? Like,
so as of 7:30 p.m. in NYC alone, there's there's protests and/or there's, let's just call them civil disturbances, so we don't get into the tomato of protest versus riot. There's civil disturbances at Union Square, Trunk Tower, Brooklyn Bridge, Williamsburg Bridge, Flatbush and Atlantic, Smith and Bergen, Bedford and Tilden, 93rd and Northern Boulevard. That's multiple locations across NYC. Multiple law enforcement vehicles have been set ablaze. And I think somebody needs to say it here. I think everybody here I can speak for when we say we have sympathy and empathy for the officers involved and the protesters alike that were injured or killed. For example, last night in Oakland, a sworn officer and a contract security specialist at one of their courthouses were shot and murdered. And that kind of
Jesus.
stuff. You don't protest or even riot against extrajudicial killings and then go and commit extrajudicial killings. That's just frankly unacceptable on every level.
Yeah, it's unacceptable on every level, and it invalidates the entire reason, like why.
Yeah.
People
now,
are there.
I won't say that I mind a bit. Buildings getting torched, cop cars getting torched, destruction of property, because when it comes down to it, power only understands when you actually take away from them. All these years there have
it's got to be relevant to the power, though, right? It's got to be
this is very relevant
to
to the power. At least in the United States it is. It's very relevant to the power.
But are they destroying things that actually are affecting people, or are they just destroying anything?
They're destroying things that are actually relative. For the most part, yeah. Accidents happen. Whoopsie, collateral damage. We use that excuse all the time. I guess it's okay for them to use it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like I said earlier too, like some people are in there deliberately disrupting and deliberately trying to set things on fire to
people
take
do
away
those
the
things
message.
all the time. People are always looking for that opportunity.
Yeah, and you're going to have opportunists. But like I told you privately earlier, Billy, when we were talking about this, we have kind of a unique thing of public-private tie-ins to, you think Target, right? There's a reason Target was a target. It's a very long, complex reason I'm not going to get into. And even the CEO came out today with a public statement saying, oh, well, we can rebuild. This is more important. But you may, like yesterday, CNN. They kept saying, CNN building attacked. Well, it wasn't just a CNN building. It was a police precinct. One that's known for extremely heavy-handed tactics in the Atlanta area.
And that's another thing too, right? With especially mainstream media. I say mainstream as a general term, but they control the narrative and blah blah. But I guess where we talked earlier too. But there are some, or again, it's rich for me to say as an Australian who doesn't live there and whatever. But from what I've seen on Twitter, from you guys live streaming and whatnot, is that there are businesses though that are, I guess I don't want to use the term, but minority owned or small businesses that burning them or destroying them isn't really sending a message to the higher powers, right? Because
so what happens?
They're the small people.
As I've explained, it's a long-term tactic of the police. The police are there not only to protect lives and stuff like that in theory, but to protect property. And a lot of times when the civil disturbance happens, the police will immediately go to protecting the wealthy, predominantly white areas and funnel them into the poorer areas. They did that at the LA riots in the 90s over Rodney King. They've done it time and time again. And just to address V Sinful, there are connections between private enterprise and law enforcement communities. And as far as this is America, dude, not a war zone like Iraq, tell that to a lot of people, because a lot of people's neighborhoods have been turned into war zones by law enforcement. And a lot of communities get terrorized on a daily basis by law enforcement.
And as you and some others in here have said previously as well, is, some of the stuff that's been enacted on, peaceful protesters, or, maybe even just like loud protesters, not even actual rioters, have been more egregious than some of the stuff that you guys have done, like overseas, in even more crazy conditions.
Well, I don't know if you were there the same years as me, but remember the you may or may not remember, read about some of the very serious protests in southwest Baghdad in 04, 05. Those were serious protests. There were armed protesters in the crowd. We didn't lay into them. We got no such orders. We're like, we're going to defend our outpost, but we're not going to fire unless fired upon. In fact, we're not going to fire unless we receive accurate, direct fire. Nobody died that day. This was in the spring of 05. Nobody died that day. Nobody was injured seriously that day. One guy got a little bit of splintering from a support beam that broke on one of the
Did you get your
outpost
tweezers out
towers.
for him? Sorry, I was fucking
Now this
take away
crowd,
from your story.
this crowd was comparable to the size of the crowds we're seeing here in the U.S.
But the thing, well, I guess it's I'm not trying to say what you're saying isn't completely different, but it's in a way. You obviously have your orders, right? And this is the other thing we're talking about us being while we're in the military is that we're held to a high regard and higher standard, and we do it because we follow orders or because we're scared to get locked up and thrown in prison or whatever for disobeying, all that sort of stuff, right? But we don't want to engage in violence unless we're given the okay to, right?
And neither do the police, frankly, for the most part, in theory.
Yeah, but again, I don't understand as an Australian the entirety of how American police work, but I guess I've listened and learned in a way from what you've been telling me. But it's the difference again with that is there's a political, and I'm not trying to get all into tinfoil hat stuff, but there's a political element too. Like for example, in Iraq, if American soldiers were gunning down Iraqi civilians, that would not look good for public image. And again, but that obviously depends on the time of the, whatever politics of the time. Because obviously before that, in the Bush's time or whatever, it was pretty hectic. But anyway, not going to get into that. But anyway, sorry, sidetrack. But you know what I mean? There's elements where I guess in America, this is the thing too. Again, like we were talking about, different states, different police in different states are doing different things. And like we were talking about earlier, like before we started on streaming, is why, yes, there's a culture in general with the American police force that, they have to be armed and ready and be on the offensive all the time. But why are some states now, their police chiefs are saying, don't be aggressive and whatnot, where other states are, you know what I mean? Like provoke or not provoking.
I do have a bit of a programming update for you. I got a text message from Ace that I'm going to share with you. He had to go ahead and get out of the area. He was shot at multiple times with pepper balls, tear gas, pepper sprayed, large fireworks going off around him. And he said the last sound sounded like small arms fire, but not nearby him.
Yeah, he was like things were starting to it seemed as though they were escalating. So he wanted to get out there, and I concurred. Like I was just grateful for what he was able to kind of show us. Like I wasn't actually expecting anything from DC whatsoever. Like, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm in DC." It's like Jesus. Okay.
Well, the interesting thing is I wanted to go back to what our Aussie friend just said, because the interesting thing is, although the internet has brought us closer together, a lot of us still live in completely alien histories and cultures to each other. Like there's a lot of stuff that even between Eastern US and Western US, we can't possibly fathom about each other. It's hard, for example, for a British person or an Australian person, even though your societies are a bit more diversified now, you never had an entire swath of your population that were brought to the country literally as property. And even when we ended that after a bloody civil war, all blessings to William Tecumseh Sherman, may Atlanta burn forever. I'm serious about that, not joking.
Jeez.
So even after all that, we had Reconstruction, which is basically we were going to unsouth the South. But then things happened, and Reconstruction got canceled by the vice president that took over as president, who was a Southerner. Then we had our history of Jim Crow laws. We had civil rights stuff. But most of the big questions, the big issues with the African former slave community were never resolved in the United States. And especially my demographic, white America, does not like to talk about them openly or honestly. It's
All right.
uncomfortable, and we don't want to discomfort ourselves. So we use euphemisms. Our history classes are really kind of mediocre
Yeah.
on the stuff. It's all just kind of paved over very quickly.
By the way, the image that I have up on stream at the moment is from DC. By the way, that shows the I think the line of. I'm not sure is that National Guard or is actually just. I mean, they do have police riot shields, obviously. I'm not sure whether that's National Guard or just police.
Yeah, those are military police.
All right, military.
Hey,
Naz.
We have the police still telling people to move right now. There's a large group of people in Portland that are moving down the street away from the police right now. They're on the sidewalks, they're on the street. They're being peaceful. There's nothing that's going on. But while this curfew is going to go into effect here in Portland, Oregon in about 15 minutes, anybody downtown is subject to arrest, and they probably will arrest as many people as they possibly can. So
you might want to get home if you're not.
I thought you already were home. You ready?
I'm safe. I'm good.
Okay, good.
So I just had to change my clothes and put all of my my clothes in the wash because we get tear gassed. You got to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, FYI, do not put them in the dryer if you have a dryer.
Yeah.
Just spraying that. Just
no,
throwing that CS gas back into the air.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I didn't put anything in the dryer. Don't worry.
Wash it out.
I am very well versed in this stuff. This is not my first rodeo.
Good.
Oh, yeah, you guys know Ali Velshi by chance? The reporter?
Nope.
So Ali Velshi is an economics reporter for MSNBC.
Oh wow, those photos.
He was just shot.
Like rubber bullet shot or actual like live rounds?
He was shot by rubber bullets by the state police.
Oof.
Where he was covering.
Where was this?
I think he's actually in the epicenter of all this in the Twin Cities area.
Damn.
But I can't confirm where he's at. He's in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Oof, yeah, shit. That's like
in the middle
epicenter.
And I am getting reports that are confirmed across multiple agencies and jurisdictions that local law enforcement, at least, and state police, not the National Guard, I stress again, not the National Guard or the United States Army, are deliberately targeting journalists.
Yeah, they always do.
Allegedly.
No, it's just kind of like it's kind of like a standard thing they do because if they can take the eyes away from what's going on, then it kind of gives them, they feel like they can go out and it gives them permission to go ahead and do those things because they don't have the all-seeing eye of the people watching them. We'll have other people with phones recording, which they don't take into account because they don't really know how to manage these days because everybody has a camera and everybody can record.
Well, didn't the NSA try to nuke your stream?
What?
Didn't the NSA try to nuke your stream?
Oh, probably. I don't know.
Allegedly.
Sorry, allegedly.
So some of the incidents that happened, apparently a journalist named Caitlin Rust was shot repeatedly by pepper balls in Louisville. Let's see, there's KNX News field reporters were repeatedly punched, and if we were civilians and we did this would be called battery, Class C felony. Repeatedly punched by a group of LAPD officers. In Las Vegas, things are kicking off. It's not confined to the Strip anymore. Protesters have taken over outside the Regional Justice Center and 8th Judicial District, which, interestingly enough, like our Justice Center is right near Old Town Vegas. And conveniently for Las Vegas Metro, less than a block away at a T intersection is Clark County Detention Center, where you can be detained and treated subhuman for multiple days. I know I've been there. It's not a fun place.
So we just had somebody who got, and it's been confirmed by multiple sources, somebody got on Chicago police comms, a hacker they're alleging, and just said the authorized use of deadly force has been given the green.
Yeah, no officer is going to believe that.
Yeah,
because there's certain code words and phrases for that.
but someone tried to basically say that in Chicago right now. They also tried to say that 3,000 people from Indianapolis were coming over to Chicago as well. It's false. It hasn't. It's someone who's saying those things, but the fact of the matter is somebody got onto their comms and did say that.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
Oh,
by the way,
by the way,
really quickly, the picture that we see that you see on the stream at the moment is the literal dumpster fire in front of the White House lawn. By the way,
that doesn't look like Donald Trump making a speech.
I mean, he's toned up a bit, slimmed down a bit.
He's doing good. That's good. That's my president.
Anyway, moving on. What were you gonna say before we get to there?
I wasn't not to make fun of what Victor said, but and obviously I know this isn't the literal way pepper balls work, but I was just thinking, imagine if you got those I don't know what you call them in America, but peppercorns, and you load them into like a BB gun, and you're like,
that would hurt.
Peppercorn.
God damn, that would hurt.
So these are kind of like, it's like a chalk-like almost substance. Have you ever?
No, I know what they know. I know what they are. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be funny if they just literally let a peppercorn? Just trying to make it lighthearted.
The new guy, he just didn't know. You know what I mean? And he was just trying. It was just
pepper balls. Oh, I got some peppercorns in my cupboard.
Like, shit, I gotta stop at the shop and get some peppercorns.
Holy shit, this is cheap, man. It's like $1 for like 10,000.
Right, you guys,
chill.
It's like literally going into an off license like corner shop and kind of trying to buy anything pepper like to use.
I would say that.
Do you have Dr. Pepper? No.
I would say from family historical experience that although military and law enforcement tend to lean right-wing authoritarian, they're not all that way necessarily. We've got, I think, the people that are organizing this, the people that are commenting on it, reporting on it, do need to report things factually. It's easy to get into a partisan trap on things.
You're talking about mainstream media, right? Like generalized.
Okay, Fox News. Mainstream media is literally
just
a loaded word.
Mainstream. But just generally.
In Flint, Michigan, a sheriff.
Did they fix their water problem?
Shut it, Billy.
A sheriff broke the police line to come talk to protesters and basically diffuse the whole situation over there. So the sheriff from Flint, Michigan, went over and diffused a tense situation between the local police, and the protesters.
Good on them.
Fucking hero.
That happened in Atlanta today too. With he was a senior sergeant from the Atlanta police, and he was able to actually keep a loud and rancorous protest from becoming something nastier by doing that.
Protesters in Portland, Oregon are regrouping right now at the Waterfront Park area over by, it looks like, the Burnside Bridge. If you want to look on a map and find that. It's in.
Where we thinking? Like which city? So sorry.
We're talking about Oregon.
Okay.
Here's a new spot that didn't exist yesterday for protests. Protesters are reported by local news outlets in Reno, Nevada, assaulting City Hall and smashing out windows.
I got another news item. A large group of protesters just returned to Rodeo Drive over there in LA, and just saw, Beverly Hills or wherever it's at. Just saw two people that were deflating police car tires, and they just went around.
But see, like, the reason I have to go back to historic stuff here, but the reason we're seeing the outrage ramp up more and more each time something like this incident happens is because when people try quiet civil disobedience, pacifism, and
happens.
stuff like that, it's not only not taken seriously, it's literally mocked. I mean, I've been in meetings, in political meetings with my own party, where I'll hear our centrists. This was back in 2016 when some protests were going on. And I'm a Democrat, and I've literally heard my own party officials in the state of Nevada and party who's literally mock these people and joke about them.
So one thing that people need to take into consideration is that like pacifism, it really is a joke. People need to be of the mindset that they need to be talking about self-defense. That's what they need to be thinking of. Like pacifism, I don't believe in violence or hurting anybody. Like, well, if somebody's hurting you or your loved one, what are you going to do? You're going to defend yourself, right? That's self-defense. So, what do you do in a situation where your members in your community are being shot and killed, beat, and thrown in jail? For nothing. Are you going to just be pacifist and let that happen, or are you going to defend yourself and your community? So people need to wake up and realize that self-defense is a thing. It's a tactic that they need to use, and it can be effective in getting things done. And essentially, what these protests are all over the country are it's self-defense at this point. In a mass way, because what's going on is people are rising up and they're saying that they're tired of this stuff. Not only just the latest, using George Floyd as an example, tired of people like that being killed. But what they're doing is they're trying to prevent this from happening again. And you can see the resistance from the police and the police state, and the government out there trying to keep things the way they want, right out there right now. This is the result of everything that's been going on, like oppression against these people for decades. Like,
Well,
yeah, that's the thing.
Go
It's
ahead.
been something that's been simmering, been building up over decades and decades.
well, and like, just because you're in a position of power, right, and you happen to be a black person in America, I'll give a great example. The state attorney in the state of Florida, first black female state attorney, after she refused to give the death penalty during a law enforcement related officer death because it didn't warrant it given the totalitarian circumstances and she couldn't prove the case. After refusing that, she was the victim of targeted harassment for over a year by multiple law enforcement agencies. She finally got wise on what was going on, because she didn't even really believe it, because she came from high class community, good socioeconomic status. So the racism stuff doesn't touch those black Americans as much. So she didn't really want to believe it. And then she kept getting pulled over. And officers kept making up silly excuses to pull her over. And finally, she got sick of it. She started recording it. And there were a lot of officers that got in trouble. Just 3 years ago, there was an area, not really rural, but more of a suburban area outside of Tampa, where the federal government had to come in and literally decertify an entire law enforcement agency with over 70 sworn officers in it, because it turned out that 59 of them were all active members of the KKK.
Pretty extreme thing.
That's a bit insane, yeah.
Not like that everywhere, but that's pretty extreme. But yeah,
But the thing is, that's not the first time that's happened.
that's true.
Anyway, guys.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I don't think we've got any more IRL streams coming as such.
Oh no.
Yeah, no.
You can do your thing. I'm just gonna say that in about 2 minutes, the curfew in Portland's going to take effect.
Oh Jesus.
Don't
Yeah,
you go outside.
the kind of the stream was really for the IRL streams as such. So like, we're probably just gonna like shut this down now. But it was kind of like a random exploratory kind of stream
fun.
today.
Yeah. This is like a special event thing, like what happened in 2016. I mean, we'll be taking the stuff back private on Discord and probably talking all night about it. But
but if any of you guys out there who didn't actually, kind of didn't see the IRL streams, then go check the VOD, because like there's some kind of fairly explosive stuff going on in those. Naz was in it and Ace was in it, and yeah, there's some cool footage that they got and everything like that. So go check that out.
Oh, and Glitch. Drop dead.
Anyway, stream wise, we'll see you guys later tomorrow. With our regular like Eve stuff.
Yep. Everybody have a safe evening. Don't do anything stupid.